Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. My name is Ann Lesser, and I am the President and CEO of Invest in Education Foundation. We are thrilled to have such a strong turnout here today, including students, teachers, school choice leaders, and elected officials, as we come together to discuss the importance of expanding educational opportunity. At Invest in Education, our mission is very simple. We believe that financial limitations and a child's zip code should not stand in the way of a high-quality education. We are grateful for this opportunity to gather here in Pennsylvania to discuss the historic federal tax credit scholarship program that was signed into law last summer. This program provides a new pathway to educational access for students in all educational settings across the country and will generate millions of new dollars in private funding for K-12 education and will provide families with more options and resources to meet their children's needs. This law, which goes into effect on January 1st, 2027, will enable individual taxpayers to claim a 100% federal tax credit up to $1,700 annually for donations made to nonprofit scholarship granting organizations, or SGOs. These SGOs then provide direct scholarships to eligible students in public, charter, and private schools. The qualified uses of scholarships provides flexible academic and enrichment support, such as tutoring, special needs services, extended day programs, tuition, and more. Importantly, these scholarships are funded entirely through private donations, not federal dollars and not state dollars. What's important to know about this new law is that in order for students in each state to benefit, the governor must opt in to the program. States were able to opt in starting January 1st of this year, and currently there are 27 states that have elected to participate in this program. The most recent state to opt in is Colorado, with Democrat Governor Jared Polis opting in late January. We are encouraged by Governor Shapiro's previous public comments about his commitment to expanding school choice and look forward to him finalizing his decision in the coming months so that families throughout the state can have access to more resources to support their children. We are excited about the promise of this program and grateful to the leaders and speakers joining us here today to discuss its impact on the state of Pennsylvania. I am honored to introduce our first speaker, Representative Martina White. Representative White is a leader on expanding educational opportunity for all students in Pennsylvania, but especially students here in Philadelphia. She has been an advocate for expansion of the state-level tax credit programs, and we are grateful for her support of this new federal tax credit scholarship program. Invest in Education is proud to have a partner in Pennsylvania like Representative White, who is fighting to empower parents and give every child an opportunity for a quality education. Please join me in welcoming Representative White.
Well, hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ann, for that very kind introduction, and thank you all so much for being here today. Growing up, I was just another Catholic school student, a kid from Northeast Philadelphia. My world was pretty simple back then. Going to class, seeing friends, playing sports after school, and finishing homework at the kitchen table at night. But looking back now, I realize something I didn't fully understand at the time. The opportunity to attend the school didn't just happen. My parents made sacrifices to make it possible. They made choices about how to spend their money, what to prioritize, and what they believed would give their children the best chance to succeed. And they were right. That school helped shape who I am today, how I think, how I approach challenges, and the values that guide my life. And that experience is why school choice is so personal to me. Earlier this morning, I had the chance to meet with some of the students that are right here in this room today. They are bright, thoughtful, young people with big dreams and access to schools that are helping them turn those dreams into a reality. They represent just a portion of the more than 280,000 students in Pennsylvania who attend private schools or participate in other non-public educational programs. Each of those students has unique talents, needs, and interests, and behind every one of them is a family that made a deliberate decision about where their child should be educated, often while making real sacrifices to make that opportunity possible. Pennsylvania has long recognized the importance of these choices, and at its core, school choice is about trusting parents. Parents know their children better than any system ever will. They know their child's strengths, their challenges, and the environment where they will learn and grow best. And families should have access to meaningful options when it comes to their child's education. Because at the end of the day, what matters most is improving outcomes for students. Programs like EITC and OSTC here in Pennsylvania have opened doors for tens of thousands of students, particularly from low and middle class families. These programs provide tax credits to businesses that donate to scholarship organizations, which help families afford the schools that best meet their child's needs. I'm proud that during my time in Harrisburg, that we have worked to expand these programs to their largest levels in Pennsylvania history. Just the other day, I spoke with a young mother who shared how an EITC scholarship helped make it possible for her daughters to attend a Catholic school right in their own neighborhood. She told me about the smaller class sizes, the strong sense of community, and the confidence that her children have gained since enrolling there. Before receiving that scholarship, the tuition was simply out of reach for her family. The school was a short walk from her home, but for her family, it might as well have been miles away. Now her daughters walk through those doors every day to a school where they feel supported and are thriving. But our work is not finished. Demand for school choice continues to grow, and these scholarships are being outpaced by demand. There just aren't enough dollars to help make sure that all of these children who are sitting on wait lists can get access to the quality of education that they deserve and want. Right now, Pennsylvania has a chance to help even more families access the right learning environment for their children. A new federal education freedom tax credit could bring up to $1 billion in education scholarships to Pennsylvania families. Under this program, taxpayers can receive a $1,700 federal tax credit for donations to scholarship organizations that support students. Those funds can help families with a wide range of educational needs, from private school tuition, tutoring for public school students, to services for children with disabilities. But Pennsylvania families can only benefit if our state chooses to participate. Governor Shapiro must opt Pennsylvania in. The program is scheduled to take effect in 2027, and families and scholarship organizations need clarity now. The good news is, though, that support for expanding educational options is strong across Pennsylvania. Recent statewide polling shows nearly 8 in 10 voters support opting our state into this program. That support crosses political parties, regions, and communities, because parents understand what is at stake. Pennsylvania is uniquely positioned to lead. We already have experienced scholarship organizations, proven systems, and a strong track record of making tax credit programs work for students. And there is one more important point. This is a federal tax credit. If Pennsylvania does not opt in, residents here can still claim the credit, but their donations will go to scholarship programs in other states, and the scholarships will go with them. In other words, Pennsylvania taxpayers will help fund scholarships elsewhere while our students miss out. Governor Shapiro has the authority to make this decision. On behalf of families across Pennsylvania, I urge him to opt our Commonwealth into this program, because this is about the parents working every day to give their children a better future. It's about the students whose potential is ready to be realized. And it's about making sure that the next generation of Pennsylvanians has every opportunity to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative White. Our next speaker is Keisha Jordan, the President and CEO of Children's Scholarship Fund Philadelphia. As many of you know, CSFP is an SGO here in Philadelphia that provides access for children from under-resourced families to attend K through 8th grade. Keisha and the team at CSFP have been and continue to be a vital partner to Invest in Education, and we are grateful to have Keisha here with us today to share more about the important work that CSFP is doing for families in Philadelphia. Please join me in welcoming Keisha Jordan.
Thank you, Anne, and Invest in Ed for your leadership, for your advocacy, and for your coalition building so that we can make sure Pennsylvania students have access to the scholarships that this program could bring. My name is Keisha Jordan. I'm President and CEO of Children's Scholarship Fund Philadelphia. CSFP is Pennsylvania's largest K-8 focused private school scholarship program, and we're serving more than 6,800 students in Philadelphia right now. We are primarily funded through Pennsylvania's Educational Improvement and Opportunity Scholarship Tax Credit Programs, EITC and OSTC. Our program is unique in that our scholarships follow the students and remain with them all the way through 8th grade. So that means once a student receives a CSFP scholarship, they and up to 2 siblings in the family will receive annual funding to attend the school their family chooses all the way through 8th grade. And we serve students with the most need, those with the lowest household incomes and who live in Pennsylvania's lowest academic achieving public school neighborhoods. So for CSFP scholars, a scholarship is the way to economic and social success. And our outcomes are strong. CSFP scholars outperform their public school peers in both math and reading. They attend high schools of choice at a rate of 95%. They graduate high school on time, and they enroll in college at a rate of 72%, and that's in comparison to, in the same year, the school district of Philadelphia had a college matriculation rate of 51% that same year. And our students are staying local. The highest college enrollment for CSFP students is at Temple University, Drexel University, Community College of Philadelphia, and Penn State University. In other words, CSFP alumni are remaining in Pennsylvania and having an impact right here at home. So these outcomes measure the effectiveness of just one scholarship program. But there are more than 200 of us in Pennsylvania, and all of us could show outstanding outcomes in one way or another. So while EITC and OSTC have a positive impact on the lives of more than 100,000 Pennsylvania students, the programs still do not meet the need of the more than 200,000 Pennsylvania students who live in neighborhoods with the state's lowest academic achieving public schools. Families want school choice, and as a Commonwealth, it is our responsibility to listen to the wants and needs of our residents. A recent American Federation for Children's study found that 70% of Pennsylvanians support expanding school choice through scholarships. There have been numerous of these studies. Representative White cited one. They all show that Pennsylvanians want these scholarships. This is further supported by the thousands of Philadelphia families who apply for CSFP scholarships every year. But funding limitations mean we can only offer a fraction of them a scholarship that could change their lives. All families, regardless of income, should be able to make school decisions for their children, especially when their neighborhood option is not acceptable. There is still more need for programs that will give choice in education to Pennsylvania students. So a new opportunity to award more scholarship dollars through tax credits is just months away for states that opt in to participate in the federal tax credit program. If Pennsylvania opts into this program, funds directed to CSFP can help provide more opportunities for the students we serve and for all those we're not able to serve right now. If Pennsylvania does not opt in, its residents will be forced to support organizations outside of the Commonwealth because we'll still participate in the program. The funding will just go outside of Pennsylvania. So you'll soon hear from Democrats from Education Reform. Our friend Jorge is here today, and he's going to tell you the amount of funding that could be available through the federal tax credits, and it's incredible. So for scholarship organizations like CSFP, the federal tax credit could expand our capacity to meet the demand of Pennsylvania families who want school choice for their children. But the first step in bringing this program to Pennsylvania students is for Governor Shapiro to opt in to participate. I urge Governor Shapiro to opt in, and I urge all legislators and leaders to communicate the need to the governor. Families want this program enacted in the Commonwealth. Adding the federal tax credit to the EITC and OSTC programs in Pennsylvania will enable more family success stories like so many that we experience at CSFP, but I'll just share one. LaWanda is on my mind because her son is graduating 8th grade this year. LaWanda has been a CSFP parent leader for 8 years. She's one of our leaders, and her oldest son is now a college graduate and getting started in his career. And her younger son, Caleb, is an 8th grade student at St. Malachy, an Independence Mission School. He was accepted to every high school he applied to, including his top choice, which is Cristo Rey, a fine school. And LaWanda will tell anyone who asks that her family's partnership with CSFP is life-changing. Let's make sure more families like LaWanda's have the opportunity to give their children the future of their dreams through education. I'm now going to introduce one of my board members. Kamisha Callens is here with me today. Kamisha is a parent leader for CSFP. She is a board member, and she is manager of external affairs at Community College of Philadelphia, which is one of our strong partner colleges. And I will tell you that Kamisha has been part of the school choice movement since before she could speak, probably, because her mother and I worked together around the enactment of EITC years ago, and now here she is as a leader for families in Philadelphia. Kamisha?
Good morning. My name is Kamisha Collins, and as Keisha said, I am the manager of external affairs at the Community College of Philadelphia. I am a board member, and I am a parent ambassador for the past 4 years now. I am also the mother of Sabrina, who is a 6th grader at our Mother of Consolation School. Education has always been fundamental in my family. My parents instilled in me the belief that every child deserves a learning environment where they can grow, feel supported, and reach their full potential. That same belief guided my decision-making when it came time to choose a school for my daughter. After finding an affordable home in West Oak Lane, I visited many schools to find the best match for Sabrina's personality and her learning style. When we visited our Mother of Consolation, the first thing we noticed is how the students ran up to the principal, showering her with hugs. We immediately felt the warmth, structure, and community that make it so special. The principal greeted students by name, classrooms were engaged and nurturing, and Sabrina left that day excited about learning. I knew that we found her home. Children's Scholarship Fund made that possible. Because of CSFP's scholarship support, Sabrina has been able to attend a school that aligns with her needs, builds her confidence, and prepares her for future success. As a member of Children's Scholarship Fund Board and Program Committee, I see firsthand how hard we work to stretch every dollar, but I also see how many families we must turn away simply because the demand is just so great. This is why today's conversation is so important. The new federal tax credit has the potential to expand educational opportunities for thousands more students across Pennsylvania. It would not only allow scholarship organizations like Children's Scholarship Fund to serve more families seeking private school tuition, it would also benefit public school students who may need tutoring or special needs services. This is about giving every child access to the tools and resources that help them thrive. As someone who has benefited from a range of educational environments, public school, charter school, private school, know that no single system meets the needs of every child. Families simply deserve options. And with additional scholarship funding, more children can access the educational setting that works best for them, just as my parents did for me and just as I have done for my child, Sabrina. Today, as I stated, I'll also speak as an employee of the Community College of Philadelphia, one of the top destinations for Children's Scholarship Fund alumni. In fact, the top 4 colleges CSFP alumni attend are Temple, CCP, Drexel, and Penn State. I see every day how early access to a strong educational foundation creates pathways to college, careers, and long-term success right here in our region. School choice strengthens families, strengthens communities, and strengthens the Commonwealth. I am grateful for the support Children's Scholarship Fund has provided to my family, and I am hopeful about the new federal tax credit and how that can mean for many more families across Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamisha and Keisha. Great stories, and we're so grateful you're here with us today. Our next speaker is Jorge Elorza, the CEO of Education Reform Now. Jorge and his team are focused on advancing bold, evidence-based education policies that strengthen accountability and improve outcomes for all students. As a former mayor, Jorge knows the real needs that are impacting our children today, and we are proud to have him as a partner and to have his support of this historic law that will impact millions of children. Please join me in welcoming Jorge.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Before I get started, I want to thank just so many people who make this all possible, beginning with Invest in Ed, Ann Lesser, Peter Murphy, and their team. Some of you may or may not know this, but we are all here throughout the country working on this because of their efforts over the past couple of years. You know, we're doing everything we can to raise awareness about this tax credit program. But Invest in Ed has been working on this for about a decade, if not more, to make sure that it eventually passed. And so please, everyone, join me. Big round of applause for Ann Lesser, Invest in Ed, and their entire team. Truly remarkable. I also want to Rep. White, your remarks were phenomenal. As you're going through, I'm like, please don't say that because I have nothing left to say. Please don't say that because I'll have nothing left to say. You hit every single point. Just incredible. Just thank you for your leadership on these issues. I also want to recognize a good friend of mine, Rep. Burgos, who's here to learn more about this program. And Senator Anthony Williams was supposed to be here. He excused himself because something else very important came up. But he sent a note that I'll be reading at the end of our remarks. I also want to recognize Keisha and Kamisha. It's great to be here with you and share the platform with you, and of course all of our students and the advocacy community here in Pennsylvania. So as Ann mentioned, I run a group called Democrats for Education Reform. And we lead with Democrats in our name. But I do want to make something clear, and that's that we're always interested in opportunities to move good ideas forward, regardless of which side they come from. And in fact, the whole history of our organization is to find those opportunities for bipartisanship where you can get to 50% plus one, and you can start to move real solutions forward. So I represent this organization, and I'm here for both personal and professional reasons. So in one way, it's deeply personal. My parents are immigrants from Guatemala, and they came to this country in the mid-1970s. And it's the classic, improbable immigrant story. You know, literally crossed the border, came and worked in factories, and were willing to do whatever it took, make whatever sacrifice was required for one thing, so that my sister and I would have a better life than they did. My mother has a 4th grade education, my dad has a 3rd grade education, but somehow they knew that an education was a ticket to a better life. And they sacrificed everything so that my sister and I can get ahead. And so throughout the country, and certainly here in Pennsylvania as well, will we continue to tell elected leaders and leaders within the Democratic Party that if you really want to connect with families, then make sure that you let them know that we're fully committed to investing in their kids and investing in our future. And that's exactly what this program does here today. As Representative White so ably pointed out, this is a no-brainer. Pennsylvania has 2 choices. On the one hand, if Pennsylvania chooses to opt out, then we can say with certainty that the first $1,700 of every single Pennsylvania taxpayer's federal taxes will leave the state. And it's going to go to the U.S. Treasury, to the IRS, and who knows what's going to happen with the money when it gets there. Now, we know, and we've done the calculations, this is at least $3.2 billion that will certainly leave the state if Pennsylvania chooses to opt out. But if Pennsylvania chooses to opt in, the state has the opportunity to recoup as much of this as possible. And if we can get just 30% of Pennsylvanians to, instead of send their $1,700 to Washington, to send their $1,700 to an organization here in Pennsylvania that is serving our kids, that will be just shy of $1 billion a year. This program has the potential to be massive, and it truly has the potential to be a game changer. Now, as Representative White also mentioned, this is something that Pennsylvanians across the board support. There's truly no reason why you wouldn't want to do this. So policy-wise, it'll help students throughout the Commonwealth, but also putting our political hat on. Families want this. In surveys that we've done, we've seen that across the board, at the rate of about 80%, voters want this. And I want to reveal something, going a layer even deeper on the survey and the polling results. The reality is that Democrats have been more hesitant, more reluctant to embrace these kinds of programs. But those are elected officials. If you ask Democratic voters, if you can believe this, Democratic voters in Pennsylvania actually support the state opting in at higher rates than do Republicans in Pennsylvania. And that's because, put yourself in the mindset of my parents, of so many families out there that are willing to do whatever they can for their kids, but they know that they don't have the resources to pay for fancy tutoring. They don't have the resources to pay for out-of-school enrichment. They don't have the resources to pay for test prep. They don't have the resources to pay for a number of needs that they know their kids can benefit from. Working class families want the exact same opportunities that families with means do. And they recognize that we have the opportunity, that the state, the Commonwealth, has the opportunity to extend those same supports to families right here. And they want to see it. And so it should not surprise us in any way that Pennsylvania families and Pennsylvania Democrats support the Commonwealth opting in. Now, I want to pan out for just a second and speak a bit about the national perspective that we see. So there truly is a crisis in American education, and it's a crisis across the board. If you can believe that in spite of how much we spend, $1 trillion a year, barely a third of students throughout the country can write or do math at grade level, or read or do math at grade level. And there have been several reports lately, I'm sure many of you have seen them, that more and more students are arriving on college campuses as college freshmen, unable to read a book, or unable to do middle school level math. Folks, that is unacceptable. That is outrageous. It is indefensible. And we must do something about it, meaning that we must use every tool in our toolbox to make sure that kids are prepared for the future that awaits them. There's a crisis in American education, and there's a crisis in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia education as well. While many kids go to both public and private schools and thrive within those educational environments, there's no one-size-fits-all model for everyone. Every single child is unique, and they have unique needs. And the flexible funding that is made possible through the Federal Scholarship Tax Credit Program can meet the individual, diverse, particular needs of every single child. Why would we not take that opportunity? Why would we not take that option? The last thing that I want to mention is that working with Ann and her team, we have the incredible privilege of working with advocacy organizations and coalitions that are forming throughout the country to advocate for their states to opt into this program. It truly is something incredible, and you can't help but feel that you're part of a movement. There's a crisis, and it's high school students, it's advocacy organizations, it's community leaders, it's elected officials, all joining together to be part of the solution. So, folks, we have a lot of work to do. We fully anticipate and hope that Governor Shapiro will indeed opt into this program, but we can't take anything for granted. We need to make sure that we're organized. We need to make sure that we're lifting our voice. We need to make sure that we do whatever it takes to make sure that all the leaders throughout the state can collectively advocate for what is a program that will invariably deliver for many more kids and families throughout the Commonwealth. So let's roll up our sleeves, let's work in coalition, let's work in tandem. You are part of a movement. Let's get this done, and let's get Pennsylvania to opt in. Thank you, everyone. So, as I mentioned, Senator Anthony Williams unfortunately could not be here because of a last-minute commitment that came up, but he wanted to be sure to send a message and to let everyone know that he stands in solidarity with us on this initiative. So these are Senator Anthony Williams' words. I am so grateful that Empowering Parents has decided to show up in Philadelphia. As many of you know, our school system has made some controversial decisions simply because they didn't talk to parents first. I could go on about the legacy of how these systems have not served our communities effectively. The data definitively shows that. Test scores show that. Even safety data shows that. I'm supporting this effort because the relationships between parents, students, and teachers should be the priority in educating a child, and foremost in deciding where and why a child is sent to a particular school. I remain committed to this effort, and I thank you so much for being here. My apologies for not being here in person, but he stands here in solidarity. He sends his blessings, Senator Anthony H. Williams. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. We're so grateful that you were able to come today despite the leg, so thank you for being here. Our next speaker is Elliot Holtz. Elliot is deeply engaged in advancing primary education and scholarship access for children. He serves as treasurer and executive board member of the AIM Institute for Learning and Research and as chairman of the Foundation for Jewish Day Schools of Philadelphia, one of the largest scholarship granting organizations here in Pennsylvania. Thank you, Elliot, for being here with us today to share more about the important work you are doing in the school choice and Jewish community. Please join me in welcoming Elliot.
Thank you, Anne, and Invest in Education for putting this together, and thank you for the kind introduction. I'd also like to recognize and thank Representative White, Jorge, for the work that you're doing, Representative Danilo Burgos for coming here today, learning about the program, and I'm disappointed that Senator is not here. And Senator Williams has been an amazing advocate for school choice education and all great things in Pennsylvania. So I've worked with him before, and I just want to extend my appreciation to him, and I'm sorry that he's not here. The opportunity that our elected officials has given Pennsylvanians over the last 25 years is absolutely remarkable in changing the face and making us a leader in education across the country. Programs like Pennsylvania's EITC program exist because bipartisan sponsorship. Over the years, elected officials like yourselves have chosen to listen, learn, and understand what Pennsylvania families need. Every governor since 2001 continues, and hopefully Governor Shapiro will continue to support this form of choice for our families. Every governor since 2001, it's hard to believe it's 25 years that we've had this, has made the decision to continue and expand the opportunity for families across the Commonwealth. I see a lot of kids here, and we'll see more this afternoon, and we know the impact that these programs have on each of you. I work with several organizations. I'm the chairman of the Foundation for Jewish Day Schools, Teach Pennsylvania, AIM Academy, and I work with so many communities. And I think that what you could see is from the original SOs as we call them, SGOs as we're turning into, that the opportunity that we provide from EITC can make Pennsylvania a leader across the country for many reasons. I really don't have too much to add because of what everybody's already said, but I'm going to repeat a few things. The Federal Scholarship Tax Credit Program, which we keep calling different things because it doesn't have an official name. It used to be ECCA, Federal Scholarship Tax Credit. Martina, I think you called it the Freedom Educational. We'd like to come up if any marketing geared students have a great name. We should stick with one so everybody has the same message because our community works well together. But nevertheless, that we say the same things is a great thing because when different communities repeat this same message, it usually means that something's working. And as we've heard from Keisha, as you hear from me, as you hear from students who are the proud recipients, the program in Pennsylvania works. We know how to run an SGO. We have a great example for the whole country to follow, and we're efficient. We have low administrative expenses that I've actually lobbied to reduce so that more dollars can go to scholarships. And I think that Pennsylvania can be a national model, and Governor Shapiro can certainly be the leader that we know he is to join in and allow these federal dollars to stay in the state. The program works, and FSTC can work because it focuses on students and families and educational access. And so politics don't matter. When a family wants their child to get educated, as Jorge references, the people care more than the politicians because it's their families, it's their children. I gotta be educationally correct. So in 2001, Pennsylvania brought this program out. It started slowly. And people are concerned that the new program will start slowly. It might even be that the governor, God forbid, doesn't opt in and dollars will leave the state. But over time, what we've shown is from a little program with, $20 million in 2001, we've been able to ask all the elected officials each year, bring more and more dollars. Let us expand the program. Let us do faith communities. Let us do special needs communities. Let us do kids who don't have a choice and make education a priority in the state. When I became involved in this program some 15, 20 years ago, it was really underutilized. And I said, how do we make it simple so that everybody can do it? One of the things that the federal program does is make it simple. Every taxpayer can participate and get 100% credit. That's even easier than the Pennsylvania program. And that's something that is a big part of the law that will make this accessible to more families and more students. So when I was involved, I worked with a number of communities, the Catholic communities, mission schools, special needs, friend schools. And what we found is that we had a lot of differences, but we all had one common goal. And I think you see that here, you'll see it more today. Communities coming together make everything better for everybody. And affordability matters. When families are looking to get the right education for their child, it typically means going outside the public school education system, which is very expensive. Today, some 90% of children in the Jewish day schools receive a scholarship of some sort. We want to see that continue to expand the education, not only for the Jewish students, but for the children with special needs who would never be able to afford the cost in either public schools, charter schools, private schools, of the needs that they need, because those kids need an advantage as well. Today, the opportunity for Governor Shapiro to opt in to keep these dollars, Jorge has a great way to put it. We pay $3 billion, that's a new number to me, in taxes to the federal government. If we keep a third here, $1 billion, it's a number beyond my scope. But to have the increase of that magnitude is remarkable. So the federal scholarship tax credit has a framework that works. It makes it easier with 100% credit. It doesn't require intermediaries. We want to make it as simple as possible. And as we've heard, it educates public, private students, everybody who needs something. For private school families, the ability to choose that right school can't be told too much. And there's a couple of stories that we have from real families. A Jewish family had 4 children enrolled, and one child was diagnosed with special needs. Typically, that means leaving the faith-based education that a family has chosen, and the cost of doing that is prohibitive. EITC has an existing special education support and increase that allowed us to give that child an additional amount of money and ensure the child was able to get the services they need without leaving the school that their family wanted to be in. Another example was a widowed father with 3 children. The children were in public school, experiencing repeated increasing anti-Semitism in their public school. They were already dealing with the devastating loss of their mother, and the children were struggling emotionally and academically. With the help of the AITC program, the family transitioned to a Jewish day school that provided both an academically stable and emotionally stable environment for the families, for the children. As the father later stated, the school, its compassion, and the EITC support were a lifesaver for my family. I could also tell stories of students that I know about in other schools that we support. Not only have they picked up their lives out of incarceration, out of homelessness, but then been able to get an education in the trades because of the EITC program. Incredibly important as we look at the future of our economy in Pennsylvania. We need kids learning trades and skills, and EITC and FSTC can help that. So I thank everybody for being here today. Again, thank you, Ann, and Invest in Education, for giving me the opportunity to speak and highlighting the impact of our programs that expand educational opportunities for families across Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Elliot. Our final speaker today is Christy Dugan, president of Little Flower Catholic High School for Girls. Little Flower shines as a beacon of hope in a struggling part of this city, and the Federal Tax Credit Scholarship Program will expand access and provide additional resources for more young women to attend this great school. As president, Christy is focused on creating a welcoming and diverse community that empowers young women to recognize and develop their God-given potential. Please join me in welcoming Christy Dugan.
Thank you, Ann. Good morning, everyone. My name is Christy Dugan, and I am the proud president of Little Flower Catholic High School for Girls. I am also the mother of 4 Little Flower Catholic High School graduates, very successful young women, I'm very proud to say, and the youngest of which is currently attending Alverna University in their 3+3 doctoral program. Not because of my parenting, but because of what she had received as her foundation at Little Flower. My claim to fame, which I always say, is that I am also an alumna of Little Flower, and I always feel that that is what has set my path for service and leadership forward. So good morning. Over 200,000 students, many of whom live in Philadelphia, attend Pennsylvania's lowest performing schools. Too often, these students face extreme obstacles, and their ability to rise above these challenges is hampered by their lack of access to high-quality education. It is no secret that Philadelphia's young people are intelligent, innovative, tenacious, and ambitious. If encouraged and nurtured, this spirit will see our city rise to the vision and hope of those who came before us. To foster such resilience, we must continually offer students new opportunities. The new federal tax credit scholarship provides those opportunities for our students, making a private education feasible for our low-income households. Education is not a one-size-fits-all endeavor. I cannot stress that enough. It is not a one-size-fits-all endeavor. The federal tax credit scholarship affirms this principle, allowing our city students to grow and excel in environments that respect their individuality. Even as adults, we seek professional environments that work for us. For example, I would struggle sitting behind a desk in a cubicle. Meanwhile, many of my friends could not tolerate the organized chaos that I experienced running a school. Fortunately for all of us as adults, we have the ideal workplace environments for our divergent personalities, and if we don't, we can change it. So why don't we extend the same consideration to our youth? Why are parents and students limited and not able to choose the educational environment that would help them thrive? We live in a society that literally screams individuality in every corner, in every sector, except education, unless you can afford it. We live in a beautiful and historic city founded on brotherhood and sisterhood, where people brought their skills to support the growth and betterment of their communities. For years, the mantra, mine as well, has been to use education as a way to help our youth get out of our city, a city that generations before them fought so hard to build. But now I'm challenging that mantra. What if we set our children on the road to success from day one? Imagine a city where their successes come home, returning to the neighborhoods where their newly acquired skills, these students will positively impact their neighborhoods. This program will help us retain and cultivate the raw talent in our fair city. It will provide a lifeline not only for our children and our families, but also to the city of Philadelphia, allowing our community to stay together, grow, and flourish so that our city can return to the fantastic place that it once was. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Well, thank you all for being here today. A special thank you to all of our speakers for sharing your stories. I especially want to thank Representative White, Representative Burgos for joining us, and Senator Williams for his statement of support. As you've heard, Pennsylvania's participation in this federal tax credit scholarship program is vital to expanding educational opportunity for K-12 students throughout the state. This is a significant moment in history for educational access, and this law is an important step towards empowering parents and putting kids first. Thank you for coming.